The chapel in Somerville, Illinois, smelled of lilies and wet wool on that November afternoon in 2025. Outside, a cold wind whipped off Lake Michigan, rattling the stained glass windows depicting saints who looked down with indifferent eyes. I sat in the second pew, not the front where a widow belongs, wrapped in Robert's charcoal gray wool coat, his favorite, the one I'd laid out for him the morning of the accident. My fingers were numb inside kid leather gloves, but the chill went deeper than skin. 40 years of marriage, and I was already an afterthought. Daniel stood at the podium, 33 years old, tall like his father, suit sharp as a blade. His voice cracked only once as he read the eulogy he'd written on his laptop the night before, back-end engineer precision in every sentence. Dad built more than buildings, he said. He built lives. He taught me family is who stands by you when the blueprints fail. I waited for my name. Waited for the nod, the glance, the acknowledgement of the woman who'd traded her career, her emerald ring, her youth for this family. Instead, Daniel's eyes reddened and he said, "There's someone I need to thank. Someone who carried Dad through his darkest years, Miss Linda Mallister." A collective inhale. Heads swiveled. In the front row, a woman in emerald wool rose with the fluid grace of someone used to being watched. Flawless skin, soft waves of auburn hair, tears that never smudged her mascara. She dabbed her eyes with lace and sat again, serene. I knew the face from company Christmas parties, from Robert's evasive answers. Competent assistant, he'd always said. "Don't be paranoid, Maggie." Daniel's voice steadied. "Linda, you were family to us. Family to us." The phrase detonated inside my ribcage. I was the wife who'd scheduled his colonoscopies, balanced the household budget to the penny, sold my mother's ring so Daniel could attend Northwestern. I was the ghost in the second pew. The service blurred, hymns, handshakes, murmurs of good man. I nodded like a marionette, smile brittle. Robert had cared about appearances, even in death I polished the facade. But when Daniel whispered to Linda, "You're the real family," the teacup in my hand nearly shattered. That night the Colonial on Maple Street felt cavernous. The grandfather clock ticked like a metronome counting down an empty life. I left Robert's chair untouched at the dining table, its leather armrest cold. In the fridge, 6 bottles of his bitter ale stood in formation. I opened one, tasted rust and regret, poured it down the sink. Sleep wouldn't come. I hauled photo albums from the basement, dust blooming in lamplight. There we were in 1985, Robert's arm around me at the firm's groundbreaking, my hair short and confident, boardroom smile. I'd been the financial consultant who caught discrepancies before they became disasters. Then he'd said, "Quit, Maggie. Let me take care of you." I mistook control for love. The lawyer's office the next morning smelled of old paper and inevitability. Harlan's voice was funeral slow. "The will, signed 3 years ago, primary beneficiary, Ms. Linda Mallister. Residence, Nantucket property, accounts." Daniel sat statue still. No flinch. He knew. "You knew," I whispered in the hallway. Dad had reasons. 40 years meant nothing? Linda understood him. "You didn't." The betrayal doubled, husband and son, a matched set of knives. Back home I tore through drawers like a burglar. In the kitchen I found the folder, Nantucket Management, addressed to Linda, 6 years old. The beach house where I'd arranged seashell centerpieces was never mine. Across the street, Giselle's roses drooped under November frost. She poured tea with arthritic hands. "Linda? Honey, I thought you knew. Symphonies, Christmas lights when your knee was bad. 15 years, easy. 15. While I nursed my sister in Ohio, Linda strung lights on my porch and called it help. In the basement, a cardboard box coughed up photos, Robert's hand on Linda's waist at a gala, Daniel at 19 between them, caption erased but legible under eraser dust, "Our little family will be official one day." I lit a candle, put on Coltrane, and danced alone in the kitchen, slow, defiant circles. The music was mine now. Daniel met me at the cafe where he'd once begged for caramel sundaes. He arrived in a trench coat, phone face down, his signal that work could interrupt motherhood. Before I sat he asked, "Why the legal notice to Linda?" "She didn't hurt you," I said. "Your father robbed me blind. Dad gave her what made him happy. You were too strong, Mom. Always questioning." I slid the beach photo across the table, 2-year-old Daniel clinging to my neck, waves terrifying him. "You knew where safety was then." He looked away. Dad needed to feel needed. I left before the coffee cooled. Rain slashed the windshield as I drove, each drop a question I'd never ask again. Linda's Facebook was a curated shrine. Profile picture, soft focus beach, bio quoting Rumi. Album's time-stamped betrayal, Robert eating her lemon pie the month I had arthroscopy, wearing the scarf I knit. A Christmas video, Linda's arm around college-aged Daniel, toasting with my crystal flutes. She'd been grooming my son while I grocery shopped. I called Ruth Lanier, my old colleague turned occasional forensic accountant. Her bungalow smelled of lemon polish and grandchildren. "Shell Company, Kint Consulting," she said, scrolling. 3 payments, $350,000 total, timed outside audits. Fraudulent gift and less invoices surface. I printed, labeled, drove downtown to Michelle Robinson's glass tower overlooking the lake. Michelle's suit was steel gray, hair cut sharp as her questions. "Send everything," she said. I did, 53 documents, 1 broken heart. The lawsuit ricocheted. Robert's firm lawyered up. Linda produced invoices Robert had backdated. But Ruth's metadata didn't lie, and neither did the photos time-stamped with my absence. Daniel phoned once, "You're destroying his legacy." "Your legacy is a lie," I replied. Click. Courtroom air was colder than the chapel. I took the stand in the navy suit I'd worn to my first board meeting in 1984. I spoke of 40 years, of the ring I sold, of nights I balanced books with a fever. The judge, a black woman with silver-streaked braids, listened without blinking. Linda's lawyer painted her as a devoted partner. Cross-examination shredded the invoices. Metadata showed creation dates after Robert's death. The judge's gavel fell like mercy, repayment with interest, $1.2 million. Properties liquidated. Linda's empire crumbled. The Nantucket house sold at auction. I watched online as strangers bid on my seashell memories. She vanished from Somerville gossip, reputation in tatters. Daniel ghosted me for 3 years. Then my father died, heart attack in the nursing home where I'd moved him after Robert refused to help. Daniel appeared at the funeral in the same trench coat, eyes older. We embraced beside Dad's casket, the scent of carnations choking us both. Coffee after the burial. He stirred sugar he didn't used to take. "I defended a ghost," he said. "I'm sorry, Mom." I showed him the beach photo again. This time he cried. We rebuilt slowly, Sunday dinners, tentative texts. He asked about the ring. I told him it funded the algorithm that got him his first internship. He hugged me like the terrified toddler on the sand. The crabapple tree I'd nearly chainsawed bloomed pink in May, defiant. At Daniel's engagement party, sweet girl named Priya who called me Mom within a week, I toasted with sparkling cider. 20 years ago this tree almost died, I said, glass raised. I nearly gave up. But roots remember water even in drought. Laughter rippled. Daniel's eyes shone. Later, barefoot on the porch, wind chimes singing, I watched the sunset bleed orange over the maple. The house was mine now, mortgage paid from Linda's repayment. I hung Robert's coat in the guest room, a relic, not a shrine. Inside, Coltrane played again. I danced faster this time, arms wide, the rhythm finally, undeniably my own. Thanks for watching this video. Watch more videos, and don't forget to subscribe my channel.